So if I need to my email, if I can read it up on my computer, so it's ready to go. On that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
So, so it's one of the things that okay, yeah. So this one even the one from this table is registered with that. Some laptops, yeah, it's recorded, but some laptops will also be used as not all of them, but some maybe with guys. Sure. tired. Why is that? Maybe the blank set.
Well, I'll save it to our next meeting.
Yeah, that's.
Can't get you yet, but it's for chats. He brave yourself with you.
Let me double check. So the other, I'll keep going, getting those contact. There. Yeah, that's okay, you know, I'll see. I'm gonna hit her with the women outside and strike her. Since she got nowhere to go. I hit her with that. So how they want to do it? Hold on. Hold on. Those are all in favor.
Think, yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, keeping it all the time. And all the time. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm a hitter with, we're gonna weather all the time. It's like, wow. That was the thing. Yeah.
Nancy sent me what you did. Just like.
Oh, sounds like a good group chat.
How about John, how would you send me?
Let's group chat. I can do it right now. So it wasn't. Thanks to you.
It looks weird. Yeah. The text, the type. Mm. Here.
Well, it was very fun, so I took a PDF. That's why I done the stuff. There. Yeah. These things now, they got it on the meter. I was thinking all they did. I was like, from. I can't hold anything on the active, but whatever. Everything that's my way. Family, so nothing. 8-1, so it's fun.
Sorry, do you know? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I.
Want to give it a listen to the game? Yeah, for rocket. What we have. 17. Yeah. Everything is stretching on so I think look at that. And you're gonna I think we got around the pictures.
I said they goes down.
Yeah, on Monday. What now? Oh. Oh, no, it's not the same.
Yes.
Okay.
So, such a question. Happens on B12 because do you want this turned in along with our assignment, like along with the presentation, just because it's under spot stuff. So community community asset mapping, so I'll include it with the slides and everything. Thank you. I think that she does it. We always have those. So just what do you say? Hi everyone, my name is Joseph. My name is Mandy. My name is Jessica. And for our community mapping project, we decided to do China. So for our project overview, we're just going to go over the demographics, resources. Hold on, sorry, I don't want sources of information, and I don't know why it's doing that. So let's find that we have protection. This is about the demographics. It's 87% Asian, 10% white, 2% African American, 1% Hispanic. Um, uh, um, American Indian or Alaskan Native, 0%. Other race, 0%. Two or more races, 0%. The age percentage, less
Younger than 10 years old is 5%. 10 to 17 years old is 8%. 18 to 24 years old is 7%. 25 to 34 years old is 9%. 35 to 44. To 44 years old is 9%.
I think just click out of
Yeah.
it.
It's listed.
There might be some.
It's
Yeah.
Oh.
listed.
Wait, don't do that. Okay, see me like a bit. Yeah, I see that. How do you know they showed us up? You just click on this?
Those little arrows on the bottom.
Okay, go this way. Look at me.
44 years old to 54 years old is 21%.
You go back out, there's a timer button.
I don't think we're,
It says timer.
the thing is,
Oh,
Yeah. I'll skip it backwards.
I don't think we have a timer on.
Let me see.
We don't have a timer
No,
on.
no, the mouse itself is trying to click going back.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So every time you go forward, it wants to click it multiple times going back.
I don't think the clicker's on.
No, the mouse.
the mouse itself, the
The mouse
computer.
itself. Computer.
Is there some stuff?
No, I'm just trying. I think it might be stuck. There. No, it's just because it's trying to click. You know how like you click one way on your mouse, it goes forward, and like the mouse.
Unless we try to make it bigger for the.
Let's see, maybe that might help. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get these projects done. That's my goal for the day. It has to be done today. It has to be done today. Y'all don't understand.
Yeah, it's the computer.
It is. It's pretty good, right? We're gonna go like this, and gently touch this. And we're gonna hope this works. Give it like 15 seconds. Do that, click that, hit that arrow.
It's 21%. Oh,
No, okay, just. I hope that.
Oh, you clicked on that. I think this is the. You can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, 55 years old to 64 years old is 16%. 65 and up is 26%. The education levels of people that live in Chinatown have a master or higher is 11%. A bachelor's is 17%. Some college or associates is 11%, and high school diploma or equivalent is 15%, and then less than high school diploma is 46%. And then the gender population is 54% of female and 46% of male. And there was no other percentages for the other genders on that website.
So as we can see, based on this, majority of the people who are residents of Chinatown are a lot older. Most of them are female. And most of them
don't have a high school diploma. For demographics continuum, Chinese immigrants are the fastest growing population in Chicago according to the 2020 census with a growth of 31%. Majority of the population is foreign born. Most say they are not comfortable speaking English. Residents want more educational institute, economic support, and workforce opportunity, especially tailored to benefit both new immigrants and generations who have been there. So for the resources, what we have in Chinatown, we have a lot of restaurants. We have pretty decent public transportation. So what we by this is that there are about 3 or 4 CTA train lines, and there's quite a few buses that are constantly running up and down the streets. We do have libraries, we have schools, there's churches, museums, as well as grocery stores. However, because I don't know if anybody has ever been to Chinatown, it is very compact, and most of the my word is there's a lot of buildings. There's not a lot of green space, there's not a lot of parks. The sidewalks are packed when you are walking. So we need recreational parks. We need a lot of housing because, like I said, despite the fact that there's so many buildings, a lot of these buildings are more so for commercial uses. So there's not a lot of housing. There's surprisingly a lot of crime in this area, and the residents are also very concerned about that. We need a lot more safety, as well as safer cycling routes because it's so compact and everybody's constantly moving up and down. You can think of it as like a mini New York. There's so many people constantly running up and down that people who are driving, there can be a lot of accidents. There's people who are also cycling because not everybody has time to walk or wants to walk. And there's just not enough cycling routes, as well as where the cycling routes actually tend to share the same space with the buses, so that's very, very dangerous.
Or on the sidewalk.
Or on the sidewalk as well, yes. We do have schools, but we need a lot more schools. Most of the buildings there are restaurants, like I said, so there's not a lot of schools. Like I said, we need more green spaces. Everything is so compact and it's just majority buildings, so there's little to no space for like recreational activities, as well as lighting. Despite the fact that we have so many businesses, we don't have enough light posts. And with so many people walking up and down, very dangerous, which also again contributes to the crime because everything is so dark.
My question for the questionnaire was that what sort resources in Chinatown do you use? Most people were saying they go to the library, use the CTA for the bus and the train, and they go to the church, and then the visitors will be going to the gift shops and restaurants and the boba shops, mostly on the weekends or like during the weekdays. And then for what the resources they want people to use the most is that they use the library and social services. And then the library for the kids will use the library. Ooh. It's-
Okay, oh my God. All right. Stopping that for a second. It must be a crazy idea. It's about, you know. I would. You don't believe it. If you guys can try it, okay. Then I will fix it. Don't worry, it's okay. It's a lot of this stuff. You don't belong here. I think it's yeah, you go with. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay, yes, there we go.
Kids will use the library for homework and tutoring, and they will also use the Putak Center for like tutoring and also the social services. And the other resources people believe they should have for the community is that there should be more availability for the disabled people, and more parks and school and services for immigrants to learn English.
For transportation. A lot of public transportation is available. Chinatown residents use diverse mix of transportation modes to Chinatown modes to get around. While 46% of residents in Greater Chinatown report driving alone to commute to work. The higher percent of residents report using Chicago transit agencies, CTA, with a 58 bus with a 37%, followed by a car with a 33%, walking with a 31%, 58 train with a 25%, and a big bike with 10%. Um, crowded by amount of pedestrians and visitors. Chinatown core is dense and well connected, but pedestrian safety remains an issue. The core area of Chinatown has a high white score of 90 and 100, and high ratio of intersection square mile, but many factors make the area unfriendly for pedestrians. With a high volume of train and local traffic and heavy congestion at a peak time, it is often difficult to walk, bike, and even drive through many parts of Chinatown, and a significant number of vehicular and pedestrian crashes occur each year. So for our recreational areas, as you can see, the black outline is simply a map of what is Chinatown and the community. And as you can see right above, there is, like right here, that's about all the green space that they have, as well as down here, because it is not Chinatown anymore. It's just this and this strip right here. So as we can see, all of this right here, that is all buildings and roads. There's literally no space to build anything that we would want to build or that they need or anything like that. So yeah, we have very, very little open space. And even though this is by the Chicago River, which is such a beautiful river to go and visit, they really don't, because it's so.
That's the only biggest park in Chinatown. And then the one that's in the very beginning is very small.
So how does Chinatown bring in money for college? There's actually a lot of places to visit. Like I said, most of the people that live there are restaurant owners or some type of shop owner. These is a small map of like practically every single shop or restaurant that you can go visit if you would like to. These are the ones that we recommend, such as Te Amo Boba Bar. If you guys like boba, I love boba. I love sushi as well, so we recommend that. There's bakeries, hot pot restaurants. There's a candy shop where they make candy and snacks. It's really good. We recommend the library. It's one of the biggest libraries in Chicago, actually, and it's right off the stop of the red line on the CCA. There's also the Pinktown Memorial Park.
That park is the one that's the very big park. And that's the where you can ride the Chicago taxi from downtown to Chinatown.
The Chinatown Square is pretty much the core of Chinatown, where you see a lot of shopping going on, a lot of restaurants, a lot of people just walking up and down, which is actually the bestest part of Chinatown. That's where all the people are always going to be.
The Nine Dragon Wall is like right after when you come down from the train station on on what side would that be? On your maybe left side, if you go down the left side of the train, you will see this wall. And then the park is the only park where you like touch anything.
It's good. It's okay. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. That or we all go home. Please go with love. It's okay. Give me a second. Feel my mouth? Well, please, I'd like to do these things that we never will become the IT person. Yeah.
And the Memorial Park is like they recently just built it like a few years recently. So that park is like very pretty. And there's a lot of walking space and biking. And I see like on Instagram most people will go there to like have their little afternoon snack for their boba tea and stuff. Yeah, they'll be going there.
Pause. I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah.
The timer.
Yeah, let me try to get rid of this. It's something that is bad. It's called
So possible.
who has a very good mouse? This one. Okay, let's see if we can make this one for you guys. I'm bring up my mouse pad because this one is kind of sensitive. I'm bring my stuff in the chamber with the mouse. Yeah. See, you're smarter than bigger than I see. Never mind, it doesn't work.
does
It is
not
a
work?
touchpad. That actually might be the last bit solution. Yeah. Yeah. It's over here. This one?
The next one.
Okay. Use this. Don't touch that. Use that.
No, it's the same thing.
That one,
Yeah, but it looks
good.
weird.
It's because the top text.
And the
Can
pictures,
we just try that?
we can try, but
Just do the
it looks
PowerPoint. Just do the PowerPoint for now. So you're right here. There we go. You guys do an amazing job. Yeah. This is fine. Okay. You know you did hard work.
No, same thing.
Your computer mouse pad is clicking constantly and so you keep making it go that way. Good. Hi guys. So,
The Chicago Public Library in Chinatown is elegant and imposing. The two-story building features a partly covered green roof. Feng Shui influences interiors and screen the roof. There is more than books in this library. The library has a ton of events on Chinese culture, like Tai Chi classes, art and craft section, Cantalot, Cantonese opera nights, and both English and Chinese language lessons for beginners. Grab a delicious bit to eat. Glorious food. Chinese cuisine is one of the world favorites, and our fine plate loads of in Chicago, Chinatown. The Golden View is your one stop for everything Chinese, with pages of traditional Chinese cuisine waiting to be tasted. Or if you want some delicious dim sum, check check out Kai with this with classic bite and perfectly put it together plate.
For the education, there's only like the main three would be Haynes School, the St. Therese Chinese Catholic School, and then the Puduk Christian School, and the National Teachers Academy is like on the other side of the train station. But sometimes I think that would not really be considered a school of Chinatown, because the main three would be the Haynes School, the St. Therese, and the Puduk Christian schools, and then the public library would be for helping them with tutoring and homework help.
So the working community, most Chinatown residents are either restaurant owners, teachers, librarians, or students. So again, when we go back to the demographics, a lot of these people that are living in Chinatown are older people with no high school diplomas, and most of them are women. What does this mean? So again, like I said, this is our majority for everything. Why does this matter? So, like I said, most of Chinatown's residents are older immigrants, majority being women, and this matters because more than 1 in 6 Asian women are mistaken for someone of the same race. They're more likely to receive microaggression, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an increase of racial trauma that Asian women were suffering, or Asian people in general, but a lot of Asian women were actually being assaulted and getting beat by different other people. Now add on to that being an immigrant, being a lot older with no higher education, as well as the inability to speak English. Hence why most people living in Chinatown are restaurant owners. They know that they can make a living because this is something that they like to do. This is something that they know how to do, and they know that people will enjoy it. And they are also very aware that this is something that they can pass down eventually to, the rest of their family.
Our our plan is to create more open and green spaces like outdoor parks, sidewalks for eating, playing chess, and socializing, pocket parks, installing outdoor exercise equipment, public art plaza, and sidewalk planters. Better transportation, more CTA trains, more bus routes, make the sidewalk more walkable, control traffic better, and we want to have more ESL classes for the immigrants that will aid them in the workplace and help them become more confident. More access to limited open space will be provided. The odds of Chinatown expanding physically are slim. Let's work with what we have. Activities, odors, odors, residents to have something to do. Have something to do.
These are all of our sources of information. Right, question for the class. I have a few questions, but, so I know you have made a questionnaire. How does it go about, like, receiving the information? Or something you go around and ask, like,
For me, I so-called live near Chinatown. I live like the neighborhood right over a bit in the square, the Armor Square. So I can like just walk into Chinatown, and my mom, so she doesn't really use the resources, but I also asked my classmate. She used to live in Chinatown and where I live, but she visits Chinatown. Some of that was from her, yeah. And I use Facebook group. Not that many, like three. Yeah.
well, after. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of businesses. A lot of them they get broken into. They recently one of them it was set on fire.
Oh yeah, it's the one right next to the library. It was a grocery store. It's all of a sudden, like on one of the days, maybe a Monday, all of a sudden they set it on fire, and no one knows the reason why.
We don't know.
Don't know.
The lack of street lighting, and like that making the space so much safer, if that would put in, I love that you connected that also. Like, the time, I would have never put those, yeah, formally those two together. That would, so I think that
I think I might know. For the elder people, I ride the 24 bus that goes through Chinatown to like where I live. I most of the time I see a bunch of elders getting on the bus, by the train, by the library, and then when there's like the welcome to Chinatown, that little sign there, there be I think the most when the elder ride the 24 bus, they're going to the senior senior housing. They're living like more south. Yeah, they go or like on those like 28, 27th streets, like down more south. Yeah. Um, yeah. There's like families, but not that many like communities of families. There's like not them even though there's housing, the housing is not that many. I don't think that many people live in there because there may be some breaking in the house. Yeah, there be breaking in. I think it's more Chinatown's like more like a visit like for tourists. Yeah. That's in the other neighborhoods surrounding it. Or like they go into Chinatown, have someone pick them up, and then they drive them to work. Yeah.
right, Group two, that's this, and the Briella, Lisa, and what did you say? Send the new one.
The process of there, don't use the touchpad. Yeah, figure it out. Look at it. It's easy. My group deserves bonus points.
So the other part that we focus on is maybe just like showing. It just controls to totally else. You know, so we can.
See, this is a real teaching moment. All right, let's win.
Okay. Okay, so the other that we focus on is the south side of the school, which is right on the border. So some of the traffic, we have to slow population, 250,000. And, um, 197, more, thousand, and then now. Then if there are 9,020, okay, so the level of education for the part on the southeast side is no high schools about 8,102. Some high schools 6,000. club, some college, 50,000, some 80, and associates, there's bachelor's, about 20,000, and a graduate degree, 12,000. So something that I want to mention is how there's not a lot of public transportation opportunities over there. The CTA bus, the closest place that you have to go would be like the main street, which would be 106th Street, 112th Street, or 118th Street, which is kind of like a little strip mall, has a grocery store, has a dollar tree, stuff like that. So in like the little neighborhoods where there's houses and stuff, there's not many opportunities to catch the CTA bus. There's really no taxis around there. To get an Uber over there, it's very difficult and it's very expensive as well. Uber, Lyft, all that stuff. Not many people have their own car to get to places. A lot of people walk. So children have to walk to school. So that. So these are some of the bridges that this day So the southeast side runs along the Indiana border, and then bisected.
It controls all.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's making it genius.
Wow.
Now.
So maybe you should all just stick to what is on the end instead of trying to.
Yeah.
So I think I can.
Cause like, it's just fighting.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. We believe.
Okay, so the southeast side runs along the Indiana state border and is bisected by the Calumet River. It is prominent in the neighborhood skyline in the Calumet State, which is a 7.8-mile toll bridge. It also connects to the Dead Line Expressway, so people get from Indiana to Chicago that expressway. We have 5 bridges, which is the one on 92nd Street, 95th Street, 100th Street, 106th Street, and Torrance Avenue. Those are the ones that are commonly used to get to from one place to another. They connect to other places like Pegwidge, Indiana, south side of Chicago. Okay, so I interviewed someone from the community and some of my questions were, so what resources do you use the most? They said grocery stores, park, church, and then we have a love fridge. So people go, like stuff that they buy, they put it in the love fridge and then people can take it. Some people do, um, they do like canned foods, diapers, and stuff like that. But some people unfortunately do abuse that buffer. They take more than what they need, stuff like that. So it's very unfortunate. Then I asked how worried they were about crime. They said that they were very worried because recently there have been a lot of carjackings, a lot of like shootings and stuff around the area. We do have a calmer part of the area, which is like 112 to 118. But lately it's been starting to become a lot of carjackings. People have to be very careful about what they do. Cars, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but it's been reported a lot more recently. And I also asked them what changes we would like to make to the community. And they said more access to grocery stores. We have Phoenix Fresh Market that is on 118th Street, which can be kind of hard to get to because that is like a grocery store. There's small little stores, little Hispanic stores over there, but big one is on the Peaks. You would have to go to Walmart, which is in Indiana, so that's really across the state border, which can be very hard to access as well for some people. And there is a factory there, unfortunately, that we are very worried about the air pollution here. They wanted to move General Iron, which is they wanted to move General Iron over there, which was very hard topic to talk about because it was right next to a school. And I also included a map in there that I wanted to show you guys, but hold up. Tell us about the map. Okay, it's right there. So right here is the southeast side of Chicago. Is that little spot is Grove Park, which is about the only park that we have until you get to Park Park, which is a little higher up, which is around right here. And then we do have forest, little forest. That's where people they bike ride, they walk. During summer, it's a very busy area. In front of Edgar's Woods, there are houses. People are very concerned because sometimes there can be a lot of gang activity trail. So families that live there, they don't let their kids out alone because of the worry about crime. And then we do have the little lake, and going back to the bridges, you kind of have to time yourself in the morning. At whatever time you want to go out in order to get this there. We have 5 bridges that if you get caught in one, you're gonna be stuck at the next one if you try to go. And sometimes we have big boats, very big boats that you can be stuck at for 30 minutes. And if you go to the next one, you're gonna be stuck. Because you see a lot of traffic. And right now we have a lot of traffic around there because there's construction on the skyway, which is sometimes the only way that we can get home. And then trains is also, which if you're stuck in it, yeah, we both live over there. So I live like 2 blocks from Indiana.
Oh.
Yeah. So we also want to focus on the schools on the south side. There's 6 schools on the south side. 5 of them are public schools. 1 of them is a Catholic private school. So the schools that we focus on are George Washington Elementary School, which is the school that I have, Jane Adams, St. Louis, which is the one she has at, and Seattle School, which is a Catholic private school, Douglas Taylor Elementary, and Bristol English Academy. Before we move on to focus on the school, we passed out some surveys. The way that we did them is I want to my little brother goes there. So I know a lot of the staff there, I pass a lot of shit to the parents, fill them out. She works at, Sadowski, so she asked us, let's put the date, pass them out. And then the school that she did, and yeah, it's also in church. And that is the church my family goes to, so we asked them to also pass them out. So our, survey that we conducted is based on three schools. So the first question we asked was how many kids do you have? This is 1, 2, 3 or more. Do your children attend public or private school? What is your main language accent? On a scale of 1 to 5, rate yourself for the ability to make decisions about your child's education, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. The school, is it hygienic in your opinion? You have a child with special needs. Do you think your child has access to additional support if needed? How often do your children visit the library, and do you enroll your children in activities such as summer camp? And then we have our results. So I have the results for every question here. So for the first question, how many children do you have? 1, 2, 3 or more. And it was about equal 40% for either 2 children or 3 or more. And then it was a 20% for 1 child. And then do your children attend public or private? It was an 82.5% for public and 17.5% of I'm sorry. Okay, so it was 17.5% for a private, which is a lot less. And then for them, their main language that they speak at home, a 62.5% Spanish and 37.5% English. It is predominantly a Hispanic neighborhood, a lot of Spanish speakers, a lot of immigrants in that area. Not many people speak, not many parents speak English. And then we asked, on a scale of 1 to 5, please rate yourself for the ability to make decisions about your child's education. Three people responded to a 2, 10, 3, 12 responded to 4, and 15 responded to a 5. So as you can see, a lot of parents, they think that, they give their children the best quality of education that they can give them. Again, they think this because a lot of parents don't have a lot of education in that area. And then we asked them if they think that the school is very hygienic. 45% agree, 40% disagree, 7.5% don't know, and then very small percentages strongly agree and strongly disagree. For the most part, the schools are clean as they try to be. There are some areas that do need a lot of attention. Again, that is out of, the parents' control. They can talk to somebody at the school with what they're giving them, the resources, which is not Mandy. Yeah, so we also asked, do you have a child with special needs? 82.1% responded to no, and 17.9% responded to yes. Something that I noticed was that, because I also looked at the individual responses, and there were the parents that send their children to private school, and none of them have children with special needs, but the children that go to public schools, they do. And this is because at private schools, they don't offer any support for children with special needs, which is very unfortunate. I know that at the school I work at, they have an endless amount of SECAs. They have new SECAs coming in, I think in January. They're already interviewing and stuff. So they just keep adding to the support and resources for those children, which is very good. I believe it's very good. And then we also asked, do you think your child has access to additional support at school if needed? A 28.2% responded no, and 71.8% responded yes. Again, there is a lot of support coming from the school that I work at. I can't really speak for other schools in that area. I know that I do know actually from another school, from Philistine Academy. I know a teacher there, and he said that the support there for those children is not much. They have their SECAs, but they're not as many as the parents would like. Some SECAs are with 2 children when really supposed to. And then we asked, how often do your children visit the library?
37.5 responded sometimes, 30% rarely, 15% never, and 17.5% very often. So we have one library that is on 106th Street, but it's kind of like a 50-50% chance if it's busy or if it's not busy. I know before, when I was younger, I would go to the library a lot and there was a lot of people there. I actually went recently, not many people were there, so not many people use it. I know people would go, to use the computers, but they have access to the computer at home now, which makes a big difference. And especially because of the pandemic, they were able to get access to the computer. And then we also asked, do you ever enroll your children in activities such as summer camp? 67.5% responded yes, and 32.5% responded no. We have two parks in the area, which is Royal Park and Calumet Park, and they do offer summer camps. I know that sometimes, like, I have a lot of family in the area, so they do enroll their kids in summer camp and all that stuff.
So then focusing on what the school is divided across 3 by the school each. So the school that I from is George Washington Elementary, which is the school that I went to. It's a neighborhood school. It strives to achieve academic success for all students. They have high expectations with strong literacy in math, science, computer science. The school is pre-K through 8th grade. It has a total of 657 students, and the student-teacher ratio is 16:1. According to the testing scores, 14% of the students are least proficient in math and 17% in reading. Some of the applications in the classroom for additional support are Achieve 3000, Checkpoint, Khan Academy, Safari Montage, ST Math, and iReady Connect. So I did some research on each school, and George Washington, 95% of the students receive free lunch or reduced lunch. The schools in district that mainly serve students of color receive substantially less state and local support than similar districts that serve primarily white students. And the school consists of 97% Latino, it's 92% Latinos, 4% white, and 1% black. And then some areas of concern in the school are they were having some issues in the summer with the heater. The school was being way too hot and the AC was not working. And right now they're having an issue with the heater. Another area of concern that was going on last year up until barely this year was lead in the water. I'm not too sure about the other schools, but I know Washington and I believe Taylor were schools struggling with lead in the water. So that would be something that needed improvement on. And then the second school that I focused on was Jane Addams Elementary. So this school is a personalized learning school. They strive to integrity, teach and learn the model global citizens. The school academically, they also use apps like Khan Academy, IXL, Freckleman, Mobyman, Streambox. It's also a public school in Chicago. It serves 570 students, so a little bit less than George Washington, but it's also a much less smaller school. The student-teacher ratio is 17:1. Its teachers have had 47 projects funded on donor streams. It also serves after-school programs to help students, such as after-school enrichment, Tuesdays and Thursdays, tutor programs, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and activities such as like yoga and schooling on Wednesdays. And also 95% of these students receive free lunch. And then I also provided here that I drew a graph, which shows like the percentage of the students from majority are 3% are white and only 2% are black, no Asian or Native American. And then moving forward to other students.
So the first one I did was a list. Right. It is a CPS school on the south side. One it serves 600 students, and its student teacher ratio is 16.9:1. The school received $10,000 to support the achievement of students with IEPs. I want to note that the student to teacher ratio is going to change very soon due to the Venezuelans. Many Venezuelans arriving at the school. I know that one class right now is already at 32 students to one teacher. And then the next class will be getting more coming up. They have already told us it's kind of a mess with all that. And I also want to note that some of these parents with the Venezuelan kids are very they're very picky of what they want for their children. I understand, but there's some things that cannot be under our control, which is like buses. The buses only serve children with special needs and IEPs, and they want the buses to serve their children, and they come in screaming at us that they want that to be changed. We can't do anything about that. That's not under our control. And then they currently use IXL, Achieve 3000, and Khan Academy. Currently, there is a 48% of students that are English language learners. So there's a kindergarten class, a first grade class, a second grade. I think it's up to fifth grade that has a bilingual class. Those classes are very much smaller than the ones that teach only in English. However, every year the amount that the teachers teach in Spanish in those bilingual classes diminishes, so that once they get to sixth grade, they are able to understand the content in English. And then there are 2.6% population of white, 4.5% African American, and 9.5% Hispanic, again, primarily Hispanic. Some of the specials that it includes is gym, music, art, and technology. Currently, they don't have a library for the children, which is something that parents complain about as well. They want their children. That's why some of our reading levels are very low, because the library is not provided for children. Some after-school activities that they do include is like they have like a STEM after-school activity. They have volleyball, basketball, soccer, and then second school activity, which is which is about 4 blocks from Central City. And it currently serves 660 students, and the teacher ratio is 16:1, and it uses the same one, the same programs like Academy, and they have the same special music, art, and technology.
Middle school and early Catholic school in Roseville. Basically eighth grade, and obviously our main focus is to offer like during school day, for your time during school day as well. But that that close to school is already used with walking 17 minutes, 16 10 minutes, and driving 4 minutes. And then the second school, Douglas Elementary School. Basic taking the eighth grade. 8 staff members of the school graduating with former students and now being school as teachers and assistants. They are in need of success, especially as all the schools in the city are. The closest library is the Miss Taylor is South French Library. Walk distance 5 minutes. Driving is 6 minutes, and public transportation is 10 minutes. Some of the programs that was there after school offers is they have a program which is sports, soccer, basketball, softball, volleyball, algebra, chess, the English learning and tutoring, weightlifting, the cooking class, golf. For the boys, girls, soccer, softball, baseball, track and field, and we also offer also reading, math, music, art, tech. We also offer a reading team, which is goes in hand with the recruitment and when they're playing. They'll obviously do all they can with the resources they have. They also have this conversion club, which just they can plan to fight those 2 years with that. And then some of the demographics are 207 children on the road. Then 2.9% of those students are low income. 77% of those students are non-educated. 23% are students. 3.9% of those students are SPLS, which means temporary living situation. With all the migrants coming in and stuff, they are not their housing situations are very complicated. And then 45.4% of those are English language learners.
And that's budget.
To go into the libraries, just to specify, one library, the ECED library, it was just, we focused a lot about, just children and kids, and there's a lot of support offered there for students for homework help. There's, online, there's 24/7 homework help, there are free tutors offered at the library, there's a lot of online sources, and free book resources, ABC Mouse, that to help with, reading comprehension, learning English, Spanish languages.
So for the parks, it would show you I took pictures from Google Maps, you jump in there. They really like having the baseball fields. Like each park has at least 5 nuts. The Summit Park is also combined with a beach, and so it's a total of 180 acres. As you go from the park down to the beach, and it's just this massive place for everybody to do all sorts of things. The programs are kind of connected because it's all part of this like centralized Chicago park programs. So I wasn't able to find which park that they like just things that you have to try and figure out which one you have to go to based on your thing. And so the parks really focus on helping the children of the community because they have programs that go from 15-month-old babies all the way up to 18-year-old teenagers. And they really focus on preparing these kids for the future. And so 89% of the children that receive these social emotional goals set by various learning programs. And so it's just all across the board, it's 80% or higher on teaching physical, cognitive literacy skills, and 100% of the children enrolled in the program the Spanish language literacy. I couldn't find anything for the English literacy, but at least they're 100% something they can use within the community at least. And the program and the parks themselves offer a whole lot of other programs, including multi-purpose rooms and other activities depending on which they go to. So there's a lot they can get out of them if they go there. But as you said earlier, transportation is an issue, so getting there is a problem, but once you're there, you get all sorts of stuff.
You mentioned that the school staff, like for the red column, I mentioned it. Right now I'm so happy about it. Schools, so such as the window or something cold. Because students are very practicing today. And then attendance, studies in school, and I'm sure I'm also doing that. The students are very low. The intent for argument that those which that help with was having social bond them working with schools, like the one that here, the drink on it and also the water bottle in there as well. And then this one here regarding the hot classroom. Obviously they're doing what they can because the engineers can only do so much. And then attendance, operating attendance, incentives to children, like on a uniform day or pizza party, having to school, and and that is something that's coming up inside and up.
So I have a question. I'm so sorry for not name. Yes, Luz. So you mentioned you went to one of the schools. Do you by chance work there, or do you know like the community of people that are coming in and like attending now?
So my little brother speaks this, and so that futures still there,
Mhm.
and I know like principal, and so I have a lot of friends, so I
So then I guess my follow-up is how would you say it compares or contrasts from when you were a student to now?
the school is definitely not, but I think a lot of these still were not that were there.
bed in the water. Like, it'll be resolved, but it's not permanent, you know?
Yeah.
Issues that keep reoccurring. So, you guys know how many high schools are?
Just for work, right next to the elementary school. And I went to both of them. And always were packed during passing period, and we had a 5 passing period. So if you had to get from one extreme of the building to the other extreme, you were definitely late. And you had to worry about your teacher not being strict about targets, passes, because that was
Another thing too, the school, the southeast side is borderline to Indiana. We do have a lot of people that live in Indiana that want to come to that high school. And it's also close to, Headwich. So we have people from a whole bunch of places coming in, so the school is more overcrowded instead of being able to go to school. I'm sorry?
What's the population of the high school?
it's about it's over 1,000 because I know my graduate class had 300. So there's a little over 300 students per class.
Yeah, but now they're starting to ask, like, to upcoming freshmen, you bring evidence of where you live. Because back then they wouldn't, so now they're starting to ask where.
There's every example. So they're doing analysis from address with their name on.
Okay, so my questions, anybody else have a question? Okay, so my question today, sorry, go ahead. So I like that you mentioned, all the migrants coming in and how they are, asking for things, maybe not the right way, of course. Do you think that with them maybe like advocating for themselves and like asking for all these things that they might be asking for all?
I don't think so because it's not just them that have been asking, it's also parents that or their children or families that have been living here their entire lives asking for it and there has not been changed. And it wouldn't be fair because now that they're asking and they just got it for now. And I also want to note that said last forever, it's actually kind of
They also know that that's yeah, I know, I asked because, they're also asking at my siblings' school, and they're very angry all the time, and yelling, and that's where you get asking for too, and there's no credit.
Yeah.
So a lot of
That's kind of the issue.
and if it is, they're not gonna, yeah, so they're not gonna get it, and it's sad, because like, we're here studying, they're here for like, the kids, but all the other resources around are not. So the kids are so frustrated.
We don't have any buses since COVID because there was a bus driver strike. And ever since then, it's already limited beforehand, but now if they used to be special needs and people who pay for it, you still pay for it. But now they don't let you pay for it because no bus drivers to drive the buses. So now they're strictly for special needs because if you like, I have kids in my partnership that go to Walt Disney School downtown, take the bus, school bus to us. And due to that, into the bus drivers, there's every school, I think like 2 buses for special needs and this, people with disabilities, and that is it. There's only 2 buses per like school, some not even per area.
For if you're like, busing, bus, but you're, the feel like, for example, skate, nope. So, so how do the kids go to get to school? So the parents help on the bus and bring their kids to school or how it's like. Kids hope that the parents are, driving to school, or like, walk. So they have to walk because some of the parents don't have cars that sucks. So, doing what they can. Like, at the school where I work on the website, I have a lot of parents who like, they walk. But today when the girls had a great program, like, what do you do?
That's also a problem that we have where the kids are going outside for recess and these children don't have the proper clothes. They go outside with a hoodie. And then they, like, we're looking at them and we're like, well, we can't just send them inside because that's another thing. We can't take their recess away. So we can't just send them inside and be like, sit inside, so you can warm. They kind of just have to like,
Yeah, we
Suck
can't
it
send
up.
it to Edmund, like, we're gonna have to walk through the kids. They don't let it on. Yeah, we haven't gone outside fully, all these things, they're like, oh, we're going to. Yeah. But it's true about the parents, the question, more that.
go ahead, Fran. I know you mentioned that it's like really low attendance rates. Do you think that would be improved by like having more CTA in the area? There's like one of the things. Yeah, definitely. Because like I said, it's only the main streets that you can't really get access to public transportation, and the main streets are like thanks, therefore.
And I'm not sure how other neighborhoods are, but in the southeast side, no matter what weather, you're always gonna see students walk.
It could literally be like a foot of snow and you're gonna see that. sort of. It's sad to see, but you're gonna see that.
So. So I'm just wondering if that who's the animal or something like that. But that's supposed to. So that's another question, but I noticed that a lot of your questions are around schools. You know, all your question now was around schools. How about places like parks, the library, and some of the things that both Max and Alpine mentioned? Did you talk to anybody about those needs at all in terms of resources?
I know I just didn't include it there. I did, and the reason they don't go to the library is
Because it's too far?
because there's no one. And the other nearest one is the one in Pepperidge, which is the other nearest one, but it's also fun, like to walk.
Like when I was, I haven't lived in the area, but when I was trying to map out the schools that I did to the King's Library, it would bring me all the way to the one by my house. And I'm like, no, like I know these two, and it wouldn't, Google Maps couldn't even find it. I had to like really type in the address. So I don't know, like the library, just the Google Maps was like that, like they were in that, you know, like the libraries are too small or whatever. And you know, the computers and stuff, like everyone could get laptops and stuff now. But schools are offering like low internet, like something on the internet for kids. But obviously they have to be under like CLS. So, are people able to get the pops? The what? Are people able to get the pops on the big water?
Yeah. Rowan Park is located right behind George Washington. George Washington High School is next to George Washington. So majority of the that are yeah, those schools are much harder. But Rowan Park is offering and they offer some programs for like you'll see very few students coming from credits.
Because I mentioned that many of the areas of the class have specified baseball fields
Yeah,
or something.
if you saw that. Several baseball fields, they have the resources, how much is that? But it should not be more than. So if you do make those down. If these. Or. But you have also to pay first. So they have resources.
Yes, well, yes, 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 I'm going to look at it yet.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Right.
On its own, like, how many bees would you have?
John, what's your email?
Let me,
I'm sorry, I answered that.
That was that award. Let me pull it up and I'll let you know. Okay. 'Cause I have to I balance 5 different emails in my head every day. So it's J Gillis NIU.edu.
J.
Yeah. J.
Oh, J. I'll get
J. Yeah.
J.
So it's the one down here. That's my personal. Gillis. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. No.
Oh. Look,
Adjusted it.
I said to balance my work email, that email, personal email.
No.
Each.
Oh, sorry. Here, Karina, it's sending now.
You couldn't do that.
You can put a ring on it. Is he going? Okay, all right. Then maybe in a couple minutes. Oh, like no.
Pick the phone up.
Thank you. It's done. All right, so I think everybody's back. So let's go with the next group. And Shamir is on, so thankful for that. That one worked. Oh, so group 3, West Rogers Park, John, Justin, Shamir, Mina, and Mia. Hopefully things will go much more smoothly. I need to go get a new laptop.
Yes, we do.
We have it.
So the neighborhood we're doing is West Rogers.
You can move Shamir's thing. Can you tell him to off his mic?
Shamir. Raise your hand.
It's just your volume. I'm gonna up the volume. Okay.
So let's talk about the population itself. All right. So 20% are Latinos, 44% whites, 27% Black, 5% Asian Pacific Islander, and 4% other. All right. So let's talk about the income. Talk about the income. 30% is below 25,000, 34%, 25,000, 59,000 range. Education. 19% high school diploma, 18% some college from degree, 51% is college degree. Highest, so something happened there, but we're gonna go to the next part of it. So the population of male and female, incredibly, is actually 50% in Rogers Park. It's 50.11 male and 48.23, I believe, around that corner, of female. The median age is 36%, and actually majority, I think 68%, do not have children, and 16% has kids. It's a very diverse neighborhood. It's one of the most diverse neighborhoods, keep it wrong, diverse neighborhoods in Chicago. I used to live there growing up, and I never saw someone that didn't look like me and looked like me at the same time. It was so confusing. So I was friends with everybody. I ended up learning so many different languages. I learned Arabic for a little bit, a lot of Spanish. And yeah, it's a very diverse neighborhood. You could really good place to live if you want to start a family or just out of college.
It's not West Rogers Park or Rogers Park?
West Rogers Park.
The mayor.
Mayor.
So, here's the experience of kind of parts of this, so like, railroad. So, and these workers were done, but what's not part, and if you put the background, and the, you know, and lots of cultures want to create the same friendly environment, restaurants, markets, etc., and funding lots of these things for.
So these are some resources. There's a lot of them, but I just narrowed down to I think the big three, which is transportation, schools, daycare, and healthcare. So transportation, CTA, which is mainly the red line and the purple line. PACE and CTA buses. You can get so you go to the Howard station, the last stop northbound on the red line. It's like the mecca of where you want to go. If you want to go to Cumberland, there's a PACE bus, the 290 PACE bus, take you all the way down to Cumberland, blue line. If you need to get downtown, you have the 147, you have the 22 bus. If you want to go to, you want to go to Evanston, you have a PACE bus or CTA bus for that. You want to go to Skokie, you hop onto the yellow line, and you go to Skokie. Yes, not in West Rogers Park, but West Rogers Park has a network to take you anywhere in the city. If you're on the red line, you can go anywhere. You go to Chinatown, you go all the way down to East Side Chicago, you can go West Side Chicago, you go anywhere. You're next to the red line. So that's why it's so great to be in West Rogers Park. Transportation, we have it. So schools and daycares. We have Rogers Elementary, which is my alma mater. George B. Armstrong, I went there too for a little bit. Sullivan High School. Eyes of the Future Child Development, that is a daycare. And Mather High School, actually an early learning opportunity daycare is Eye of the Future. And Mather High School, which is also my alma mater as well. So I'm gonna start with Rogers Elementary. It actually has very wonderful foundation of different children, and they're very big in the cultural arts. They have a stage that they built back in 2008 for theater. These are broken one. Then we built a new one in 2008. We have a very well theater program where we do plays like Peter Pan. We've done Three Musketeers. We have an amazing music teacher that used to be there. I think she transferred out now, but they have a big thing of guitar and orchestra there. George B. Armstrong, very big in their sports. There was actually well known back in the day, in the early mid 2000s for their soccer teams. Eye of the Future is a program, early childhood is on like next to Morse. They take 1.5-year-olds up to 3-year-olds. They take them on trips around the neighborhood. They walk around, but they'll teach them the same things we're learning in this class, like small activities they do, like we're learning how to read. They do share reading a lot in that program. So they're doing the same things we're learning in this class, doing that daycare. And Mather High School actually has the diversity as much as this as a neighborhood school. They have the law program, they have a theater program, they have an AVID program. So the law program is pretty much 4 years, where 2 years you are learning criminal law for your first year. Second year, you're learning contract law. Third year, you're learning psychology of criminals. And the fourth year, you do an internship. And an internship somewhere in the community. The IT department
the IT program. I call it the department because you learn a lot about coding. It's the first school that I went to that taught you coding freshman year. It is a very building. They're still building these programs. They have a drama program where, like I said, drama and tells. They do a lot of orchestra. The Mather Orchestra has a Facebook page. They go out to the city to go do orchestra there. All around. They done it at Grant Park. They've done it at Millennium Park. They've gone to the West Side to go perform. The Avid program is very good for note taking and building community. So you always freshman year, you get to go to this wood cabin retreat. I didn't get to go because I wasn't avid, sadly, but you go to this wood cabin retreat where you learn team building, how to build community in your own school. And then let's build on the healthcare. So there's many different clinics and big hospitals around there. So I focus more on the family clinics. So we have Rogers Park Family Medicine. We have, always not the word, Atrium? Atrium, there, thank you so much. Atrium Healthcare Center, and we have Access Rogers Park Family Health Center. The reason why we have so many clinics is the Howard Station, like I talked about earlier, it is something people used to still call the concrete jungle. There's a lot of homelessness and crime there. I actually grew up in the homeless shelter that's right underneath that train station. So these clinics are places I went to growing up to the age of like 19. So we have a lot of steady resources for people of all income to get healthcare. Like not like that healthcare like covering you, but like you get covered. Like there's someone that is a doctor, there's a dentist, there's something for you in West Rogers Park, even if you don't have the most income or healthcare.
Okay, so state how you obtain your information, resources, interviews, questionnaire. So we use a questionnaire, and we use a Facebook group. We sent this out to a Facebook group. I tried to attach like the form I sent, but it just wasn't working. So we split up the questions into demographic questions, community engagement, infrastructure, business, local business and economy, and then the overall satisfaction and feedback. So some questions we did, the age range, how long they've lived there, employment status, household size. For community engagement, we asked how often they participate in local community events, what type of community events they'd like to see more of, and if they're involved in organizations in the community. Infrastructure and services, we asked how satisfied they were with the public transportation options, what improvements they'd suggest, and then how they would rate the availability of parks, recreational facilities. How often do they shop at local businesses, what type of businesses they felt were missing, and then any challenges they face. And then satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the quality of life here? What would you consider the best aspects of the neighborhood? And then if they had any additional comments about improving the community. So 14 people responded to the survey. We gathered like the average data from all the participants. So for question number 1, what is your age range and gender identity? The age range was 25 to 38. The average, when we use like the websites to compare the data, the average is about like 35, 36. How long have you lived in West Rogers Park? The 14 people said anywhere between 2 and 8 years. Their employment status was full-time and part-time. What is your household size? The average was 3 people. Many people didn't have like large families, including like kids. Kids is like 1 to 3 kids, but this is more like a starting area for college kids. So not a lot of people have kids, but for community engagement, we asked how often you participate in local events. There was a wide range of answers. Some people said occasionally, some said once a month, and some said during holiday functions. And then when asked what they'd like to see more of, they said cultural festivals and art exhibitions. And so only one person answered question 3, which says, are you involved in any local community organizations? One person said they volunteered at a food pantry. And then a lot of people just left that one blank. So Infrastructure and services, yes, are satisfied with public transportation. Some said moderately satisfied, but they'd like to see more bus services in like more populated areas, which I'm assuming they meant like in populated areas, like 'cause they only come every so often. So when it's populated, like, highly populated like that, they want to see buses and trains come at more regularly. And then to improve the infrastructure and services, they said better connectivity to nearby train stations and affordability. Local business and economy. How often do you shop or dine at local businesses and restaurants is hard? Most of the people said regularly. And then they want to see a wider variety of restaurants and cafes in the area. And then it also said that for the question too, are there any particular challenges that you face with local businesses that you'd like to highlight? And they said better parking availability because it connects back to foot traffic. Some of the data gathered from like the website views in the portfolio but they said that the square footage for the stores had to do with like the square footage that was allowed for parking lots. So that can't really be changed just due to like the laws of the community, stuff like that. But that's something to and then lastly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the quality of life here? And most of the people said anywhere between 7 to 8, so genuinely satisfied. And then when asked what do they consider the best aspect of living in the neighborhood, they said it's very diverse, very friendly, and the community members are always willing to help. And then lastly, do you have any additional comments or suggestions for improving the community? And they said encourage more cultural exchange programs and add more cultural festivities.
And information on how the resources are used and whether or not we think that they are effective. The information on West Rogers Park resource was used by the survey we did on the community of people and asked the questions about the community and how they feel about it, that answered all the questions and answers that we asked. I think that the resources was used effectively because the survey that was done and asked a couple of questions. This was done by a group on Facebook, and I mean it was a good amount. At least 14 of them responded and said all the questions that we asked and answer them where we understand how they feel and more about them living in the community and all the resources that they provided for us. There were just 2 things that really surprised us. That was not a lot of cultural events, that there should be more of the cultural events that should be happening in the community. And then for businesses, that doesn't have too many businesses with the restaurants and cafes. When they said that, I was kind of surprised, and I thought that at least cafes would be a little bit more busy due to like students wanting to go and do their homework, or like restaurants just going to kind of like a group, like especially a cafe, like a study group or something. I would think that it would be more like a lot of students would go to it.
I was adding on to it, because I was thinking about too, because Rogers Park, there are a lot of wonderful business restaurants. You can get Jamaican food going down Howard. You can go down Clark a little bit. You get a lot of Mexican food, you get a lot of Indian food, you get a lot of Chinese food. But I think it's to the buyer. I think what's surprising was we have all these options, but I think what they're wanting is more fancy sit-down restaurants. A lot of Rogers Park Restaurant Park is quick, fast food, not like fast food restaurants, quality food, but it's quick, fast eating, not like put on a nice outfit and go sit down and eat. So we don't really have, I guess, restaurants like in Chinatown. You go to Chinatown, you're sitting down and you're dressed up and you're kind of eating some dim sum when you're going to hot pot. We don't have stuff like that in West Rogers Park, but we do have restaurants. So I do see what they're saying, but I think they might be misinterpreting what they're asking.
Well,
also the age, like, for people who did answer, there's only like 14 who responded, and even just 25 to 36 or something like that. So it wasn't a lot of like the kids in the area who were answering for the survey, so the data's kind of a little skewed there.
That's why it caught me off guard. No one can stop this to eat it around the
And we
farm.
have also, yes, wow, that's something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say someone who works in the park district who does cultural events. They do happen. It's just hard to get people to show up to them. They don't get publicized a lot. We do a lot of sporting events. We have big on soccer and restaurants and parks, so a lot of people go to those things. So these things happen, I guess. It's eye opening to me. Let me know that like I'm not doing my job publicizing enough on these culture special events. I do an art gallery at my job every fall, every winter, and every spring, where we have everybody in the community bring pieces, get 100+ pieces. But if it's not being noticed, that means I need to work harder on making sure that is other people are feeling vindicated that there is cultural arts. Because that does happen a lot. People are like, oh, Rogers Park does. We do all these other things with food. We're very big known for food and our sports, especially soccer and basketball. But like we do the cultural things, it's just we're not shown. I guess we don't publicize as much because we go to Indian Boundary with the supervisor named Phil. He does dance. He does gymnastics. He has a stained glass. Like there's things like at my parks were actually Edgewater when I take a park. But we go to Loyola, we have wood shop. We have these things of cultural arts. It's just they're not as publicized as much as these sports.
So suggestions for how members of the community might access other resources. I went on to Children and Youth Services, My Child, My Future. It's an app that they can download on their cell phones for extra opportunities, meaningful opportunities at school. As a young person, pretty much every fifth grader onward has a cell phone these days. So they always need an out of school opportunity, because not every school has after school care, after school programs, and they might need additional support when it comes to their home. And there are also housing and shelter opportunities. Like John had said, there are many homeless people, unfortunately, and they do have food pantries for them as well. And certain client choice centers that come on the went at a certain time, they actually choose that's violent shelters, unfortunately, that happens as well, and families. They also have there's many different resources on that website part of the page, from anywhere from school, shelter, from food, from housing, from if you need a job, prison, they will help you. So there are many different resources for it. And once again, access to a wide range of resources for shelter, food, clothing, domestic violence, assistance, job training, placement services for formerly incarcerated, based on the survey, just a whole like hidden caboodle of resources for everybody that needs to get any type of information for their life.
And based on the surveys like that shopper question, cultural arts and the restaurants, maybe like talking to our older men about maybe like having a bigger restaurant, like not like a chain restaurant, something like we need a bigger maybe cuisine somewhere else. People that like take their families out to eat. Like it used to be a country buffet, but that's closed. That's gone. It used to be New China buffet. That's closed. Like we need like maybe a restaurant that's more of a sit down. Maybe could bring in more income for the community and also for the cultural art thing. Maybe we need to start publicizing and have a bigger. Like I know there is in sections we have like an art gallery in one neighborhood. Usually I think it's Morris. I think that Morris has like an art gallery, but it's always sectioned off in Rogers Park out certain things on. And we need a bigger one. Nothing to do with maybe put this together and do that as well.
Also,
So, there's a lot of research of the demographics. The range, have about 20,000 stuff.
That's area in the park district term, that's only area 5. There's a lot of Westwater Park is area 5 out of. Yeah, 82 in the area of just North Haven, 82 where we get 20 in area 5 for Westwater Park. Another thing with this map, it shows like with the parks themselves, but also like the parks, but like these parks have a lot of walking trails in them. Indian Boundary has one of the oldest wooden playgrounds. It is like a giant castle.
That's like enough.
It's a giant castle of a park. They have a duck pond. We have so many different resources of just being able to just walk. Like Shamir said in the beginning, Broadway Park has always grown. Always been making buildings. And one thing I do like about it is we don't have as many condominiums, a lot of homes, not a nice fancy old homes that are going to walk to Broadway Park to see it. Very beautiful and like it's a very cultural difference.
Yeah, these are like some of the resources, homeless shelters, and some of the other. This is another one. This also shows up the demographics. This is one we kind of use to compare a question into, at the household average. And then this last one, is just, if you put them up here, to like a bunch of other links that, families can use for development. It also shows like events that they have in the area, which will help with how, as you're saying, advertising and stuff. In the, and then also they have programs like the market.
It is a Broadway Park. That's what it's called. Pretty cheap. Pretty good.
Any questions?
Questions, comments, questions? No.
So I have always thought that
Sure.
So your presentation is it on Broadway's Park or Westwood?
Westwater Park. We do cut off park. That's why there'll be more parks and more other things, but I can't really talk about them right now.
Because west is towards our school here.
Yeah.
And this is from Ridge to Western until Lake.
Yeah. Is Howard Moore's Jarvis is not organized. It's like it's organized.
So do you know where Loyola is?
Yeah, like all this, it stops right.
So they're not showing us park.
Yes.
So
Cause
but west,
my park just crosses, like I work at Burger Park and Loyola is really on this side of me, but when you cross over the Baker Street, I think it's Western. Once you cross that, it comes to Edgewater. And
yes,
that's a whole
so
different
that
neighborhood.
is known as Broadway's Park.
Yes.
And Ridge to here, right up to
Mather High School.
to Mather.
Yeah.
Is on West Rochester.
That was in there.
They also have the
Yes, they have a representative. That's what that's, I forgot to set it up. Yeah. So that was it there too. But yes, that's the cutoff. It's very tricky because I literally, like I said, my parks and Edgewater, but like I can look at Loyola through the window. Very finely, don't cross that tree.
Because people in West Ridge don't necessarily think that they have a good transportation like this.
But we really do, like I said, we have powered red light, and that's why I try to explain to people all the time when they say, oh,
I live in Rogers Park. I'm like, no, you go to where you're supposed to be at the house. I'm giving the buses that take you either downtown, take you to Skokie, take you to Cumberland, take you to many facets of the city. You get to the library, any library on the CTA, but also you can get to like Eric Washington Library from Rogers Park. You get on the red line, take you to the stop. It's good. You get to go to the museums. Get on the 147, train to the 140, train to the 140. Oh,
151?
well, yeah. There you go. But yeah, like there are resources, and it's funny, like after doing this project, I realized how much me living there for so long, I know a lot more of this stuff than the people that we were getting the survey answers from.
Yeah, I went to high school, things for launch, but it doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah, that's also my thing. A lot of the schools I want to talk to, and that was an issue that I didn't have time to fit in, was a lot of charter schools that have been opening up in that area. And that's I think I thought would be a big issue that people want to talk about in the survey. But everyone seems to enjoy them, but taken away from a lot of the public schools is the charter schools that have been popping up. Since Scholastica is gone, there's now Uno Charter School. A lot more of these charter schools are popping up in the area.
Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Shamir. Go get some rest now. Mhm.
So what we're trying to do, and our neighborhood is out in parks and rentals. I'm sharing. Alvin Park is within the upper west side of Chicago. It falls north of Montrose Avenue, south of the North Chicago River, and west Elston Avenue. Avenue Park was founded in 1893 by different investors after the area had been used as a farmland and began to attract more residents. One of the investors, Charles T. Erickson,
Yes.
named after his hometown, Albany, New York. The area became more popular when the investors put in transportation lines in, and from that area became much more affluent, with more demands for transportation. Albany Park was able to expand its borders. By 1907, the Ravenswood elevated train line extended to the neighborhoods Kimball and Lawrence Avenue. After this came a building boom, and the businesses' homes started to become more and more common during World War II. However, there was a migration of residents heading to more suburban areas. But by the late 1970s, the different local institutions, organizations worked to rebuild the community and economy, increasing the property values and bringing more respect. Fun fact, did you know that by the 1990s, Albany Park had the highest number of Filipino, I don't like that word, and Korean immigrants in all of Chicago. And as of 2020, Albany Park is home of about 48,396 residents and approximately 17,100.
It's just really old. Sorry. It did only two.
Thank you.
Of this population, we learned that 34.7% are white, Latino, 45.6% are Hispanic or Latino of any race, 4.2% are black, 12.5% Asian, 3% are immigrant.
So our research, we basically did a checklist questionnaire. Our survey consisted of 15 types of relevant resources within the Albany Park border. That was something we were very strict about because there's a lot of resources that are right outside of those neighborhood limits, but we really want to place inside. From here, we created a checklist survey for participants to anonymously complete. We sent them to Facebook groups, sent them to our friends on social media, I sent them out to staff, and a total of 28 people completed our survey. Did we find that the response, do we find the response to the available resources effective? Yes. To briefly summarize, we were able to conclude what resources most residents primarily access, and what other resources could be more widely advertised, and then from here we were able to create helpful resource outreach. If there were any surprises when we info room, what to find out, some new information that we were able to gather from this was that, what could further help us in the classrooms is the amount of places of worship, of any and all religions, as well as the vast amounts of local parks. And these spaces are very important for us to just be aware of when we're connecting families.
And then we kind of did a count of all of the available resources that we found, and these were also everything that we mentioned on the checklist. So we included all of the community center, child care center. We didn't list them specifically, but there was one community center, 20 child care centers, 6 social services, 6 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 2 high schools, one public library, 14 places of worship, 1 fire department, 1 police department, 12 local parks, 10 grocery stores, 3 fine arts programs, and 3 CTA line bus and trains. So as you can see, there are a lot of local parks within Albany Park, as well as a lot of places of worship. As you saw, there were a lot of Korean, Filipino, Guatemalan immigrants back in the day, and now it is very diverse. So there are a large amount of places of worship. And there are also a lot of child care centers. So kind of like unlike the south side of Chicago, there are a lot of schools here. And there is one public library, the Albany Park Library. And then this is the format of our checklist. So we added all of these and allowed people to select which ones they saw often, and which ones they would be more interested in learning about. So we have, again, specific community center, the fire department, the library, police, schools, fine arts programs, child care, grocery stores, social services, local parks, and CPA. So this is what we based our survey on.
So what resources were most common access in Albany Park? In 28 people that responded, 82% of them said that they used the local parks, 78% said they used CTA, 75% mentioned Chicago Public Library, as well as various grocery stores. We kind of listed major and minor. 32% access to places of worship and high schools, and then 35% access to elementary schools, then 28% and below was where we were getting more of police department interaction, community center, fire department, and child care and fine arts. And then what resources residents were more interested in learning about? 57% said fine arts programs, which I found very surprising. 32% said the Albany Park Community Center, which just recently combined with the Carol Robertson Center for Learning. So now it's like basically a 2-in-1 community center and public child care. 25% of the local parks, 17% talked about social services, and this is anywhere between family centers, food banks, shelters, and 14% of us talked about being interested more in places of worship, private child care, and the Chicago Public Library.
So for our outreach plan, when we share this information with the community, first is conversing with residents of the word of mouth, discussing local events or local services with neighbors, and talking about resources, coworkers, friends, family. We also do create a link tree that we added to the end of the checklist as well with a bunch of resources about our neighborhood. As well as posting updates online, so through social media, which is also how we receive a lot of that data, Facebook groups. So joining Facebook groups or finding local Instagram pages dedicated to spread the word more about the resources available, as well as flyers. So like having a few visuals in kind of populated areas to kind of again just spread the word and asking others to share information. So for example, like posting our link tree, I think around will also be helpful. Hosting community groups with free presentations, so holding symposiums or meetings to have real life discussions with the community and actually have that in-person conversations and target what the community needs. And finally, advertising through social media. So this would be a small investment into online advertising, but it could reach a larger audience across various media, Facebook, Instagram, etc., just to get the word out there, such as the along with some suggestions regarding unavailable resources. I took the data from our question survey. I was asking what resources that we did not list that they provided us with. So somebody said free art activities and their supplies. So I suggested donations of Japanese art supplies made at the local libraries or nearby coffee shops so the public can just pick them up. And announcements can be made of the donations on Facebook, flyers, or word of mouth. My other suggestion was forming organization community. The committee can host events in the parks during the summer, like the most popular park is Dumpers Park. It's right here on Foster. They have like a bunch of baseball fields, pools, like a gymnasium for kids out there and for sports. The committee can also supporting the community, the organizing of food and clothing drive, participate in a warming center, state by doing like COVID tests, vaccines, organizing. They also raise money for the community, and the cost to operate is in GoFundMe for you guys to know. And to make more members of the committee, announcements can be made on a Facebook or Instagram. They can post free public events such as events in the park or church. They can volunteer at local centers or small businesses. Another idea was a book club. Members coordinate times at local coffee shops, parks, centers to discuss a book. They've been set up like a little library to exchange books that they're reading with or pick books up. Reminders and information about the meetings distributed through a book club Facebook page or a flyers and like a QR code. And then these are just some comments from the survey, so we just asked if they'd like to give feedback. So this was the one regarding more free art activities. And then someone also mentioned that they went to Eastern and they grew up going to the Deborah Boys Club. I'm not sure if that's still then these are our citations, but I did want to quickly pull up the literature just so you guys can see. Oh, it's not good, but, oh, it is much of it, sorry.
But this was just at the end of the presentation too. So if anyone wanted to copy it and then keep it, one of these tabs takes you to a different online resource that we use to gather data. Some of these are also like if you click on, if you scroll down and click on places of worship, a lot of them we also kind of made. We just like figured out what was in that border. We found out the address and we made like a public database. So if they want to have a list, you can keep that and use that. We noticed that digital resources were a much more fast-paced way of getting data and like keeping data. We found some like physical like brochures or like map out, you know, documented PDFs for like demographics, but we noticed a lot of online content was much more.
Also, for everyone who didn't know,
That's right.
sorry, we're not in the park right now. So
Yes, we are.
I hope you would know that.
I'm not saying I live in Albuquerque Park, I hope.
You are.
I'm 15 minutes away.
So I really, the link tree that you mentioned, is that something you created yourself, or is that something that you found in the?
With all the resources for the citation, just made it more accessible. That if you want to know anything about Albany Park, you can scroll through this part.
So what you did was take some of the resources that you had used to collect the data and put them in one location. You should give that to whoever is in charge of it.
So that was something too, we definitely, with the Facebook groups that we were able to reach out to, I made it really clear in our post that we had left this at the end of our, survey. I wish we could have seen like interactions or something like this, that'd be interesting to know. But yeah, it seemed like a really, I don't know, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to my phone. I wanted to make sure that it is something that you could save and not have to worry about it until.
And this is really good. Thank you. Wow, we made it. We made it.
And you were like.
So thank you very much. So that this class was useful for you. The preparation to work with parents. As you prepare for the community. The next semester will be going to this course for you. Your very first experience with clinical experience. Oh, yes, I had it before. I had a question about that. Okay. We aren't registering for that course yet. The clinical? No, so not yet. Okay. Yes, until we get a legal from you. So what typically happens for advisor or teaching? There'll be about 2 supervisors in class. Okay, so once that is happening, yeah, but once that's happening, then she'll to assign you to whichever position. Oh, and then we register, and then you're ready. Okay. So part of it is where people live and where the people live. So what we don't want to happen is we don't want to find not the all the big stuff. So that's how that. So that's why. That's something here. I'm looking. Yeah. I'm looking at something. Great.
Back open.
Yes, but